Finding a purpose in the work we do or the way that we spend our time which resonates deeply with who we think we are is an essential part of knowing who we are. That in a way, if you don't know what you can do, you don't really know what you might be. Most adults have no idea of their true talents, no idea of what they're really capable of achieving. Most adults, in my experience, kind of bump along the bottom. You know, they do something they feel perhaps more or less competent in, things they feel they need to do, but don't do it with any great passion or commitment or any great sense of fulfillment. Human talent, human ability, like the world's natural resources, is often buried deep. It's not just lying around on the surface. You have to go looking for it. It's not just obvious where your talent might be. And that's why I think so many people don't know what their talents are, because they've never actually come upon them yet. It's about ability and it's about aptitude. It's also about attitude. It's not what happens to you, I think, that makes the difference in your life. It's what you make of what happens, how you meet these circumstances and what you do about it. And it's about opportunity. You know, it's about cultural circumstances. Things prevent this happening. And one of the things that stops us doing what we might want to do is our own self-censorship. A fear that we'll fall flat on our face, that, well, you know, me, I'm not even entitled to it. A second, I think, is other people's attitudes, friends and family, often well-intentioned. There are all forms of tacit disapproval that prevent us moving forward. It can be the raised eyebrow of a friend, you know, or a group culture. What, you, seriously? What, you would do that? Oh, okay. Or cultural constraints about the roles of women or the communities. So I'm not trying to say that this is easy, but I'm saying it's essential, and that there are things we can do, particularly in the systematic process that we put forward through education and organisation of communities, that can assist it. You know, as we look into the future and can't predict even 2 weeks out, you know, what the economies may look like, what jobs people will do, how the economies may evolve, what sort of economic progress we'll make, investing in the old model seems to me to be absolutely absurd. You know, the old model is predicated on a particular view of intelligence and talent, and I think for the future we need to evolve systems of education and of organisational planning and of community development which are based on a model of diversity rather than of conformity. I've had a lifetime of interest in education and human possibility. But in the end, what it seems to me essential to emphasise is that education is not a mechanistic process, and organisations are not mechanisms. You know, if you look at the management chart of most organisations, it looks like a wiring diagram. And it all kind of suggests that these are like mechanisms, and they're not. Human life and human communities are much more like organisms, in the sense that we flourish under certain conditions and we fade under certain conditions, and our success is always synergistic with our environment. It is about human flourishing. But it's also about recognizing that education and our communities are part of cultures and they're not independent and insulated from them. So there has to be a cultural commitment. And it's also about economic development, and that has to be synergistic with all of the rest. But at the heart of it, the elemental bit of it, is a different conception of human possibility, that finding your passion does change everything.